Hi, it's Sunday, December 27th, 2015. This evening I'll be talking about an interesting article that's just come out in Forbes.com. It's entitled Gold is the Money of the Future, Gilder's 21st Century Case for Gold. It's an interview, by Jerry Boyer, a contributor to Forbes, with George Gilder. George Gilder is known as a financial author and investor. And I remember George Gilder back in the early 2000s. He was a technology guy, wrote a lot about technology. He wrote a book in 2000 called The Telecosm, The World After Bandwidth Abundance. So he was he was really a technology guy, and I remember, there's a lot of talk about, the internet, and he was heavily into that. So I'm surprised that he's actually now written a book called The 21st Century Case for Gold, A New Information Theory of Money. Very interesting. I will put the link to the article below the video, and also some more detail about George Gilder below. So basically, in this interview, George Gilder says that money should be a measuring stick of value, but he argues that today's money market, which is the foreign exchange market, is 73 times larger than the total of goods and services produced by the global economy, or GDP, and also 200 times greater than all the value of all the stock markets in the world. So he's arguing, how can, a measuring stick be bigger than the, the value that it's measuring? So it doesn't make sense. So he's saying that the measuring stick, in this case fiat money, has consumed the world economy, and that the only beneficiaries of this financialization, as he calls it, of the economy are banks, politicians, and central banks. Politicians, because they're able to indebt their countries with trillions of dollars, of fiat money debt conjured up out of thin air. And, the other point he makes, that we've turned money into a meaningless self-referential loop, divorced from any physical constant and time property of measurement. Because he argues as well that time is money, and that gold is the clock. And we all know that old saying, time is money. And the reason he argues why, time is money is because it's very scarce. If you waste 5 minutes, you can never get it back. And people are always, looking for more time. Life is limited. You die, so you have a limited amount of time to do things in life. And the other point he makes is that gold, like time, is very scarce, because it's still very hard to find gold and extract it from the ground, despite all the technological advancements, all the capital and human investment that has been made. It's just almost as hard to find gold today as it was 200, 1,000, 2,000 years ago. So gold has that same scarcity value as time, and so gold is the clock that measures time in terms of value. He also says gold and time are the only factors that always remain scarce or become even scarcer with technological advancement and the capital and human investment. He says, according to Gilder, gold is a clock, as it is still as difficult to, and time consuming to find, which I already told you. Yeah, and he says also that this quality of gold as a clock, because it's really scarce, a measuring stick, that this has happened by chance in nature. It's not done by, it hasn't been done by design by humans. So it's a natural system, like time. And Gilder talks about Bitcoin as well, which is really interesting. And he thinks Bitcoin and gold go hand in hand. And he discusses how Satoshi Nakamoto, this which is a pseudonym for the creator of Bitcoin, he explicitly mimics the scarce quality of gold, because in Bitcoin, mining Bitcoins is really tough. And there's been 15 million Bitcoins mined in the first 6 years of Bitcoin since 2009. And it's apparently, according to Wikipedia, it's going to take until 2140 for the mining of the next 6 million Bitcoins to be achieved. That might, that might shorten that duration of years, but it's still a long time. It becomes harder and harder to mine, Bitcoin. So he actually thinks that gold and Bitcoin are gonna make a big move in the future, and in the information age, digital age, and it makes sense. I made a video a few days ago about how you know, uh, Bitcoin and gold can work together in exchanges where, you can use gold, store gold and Bitcoin in the same exchanges, and transfer wealth through Bitcoin. So Gilder is seeing this as well, which is quite interesting, I thought. Um, and the other point he goes on to make is that when you distort money like the central banks have been doing, in the last decade or so with their zero interest rate policy, he says that they're nullifying the information about time that money conveys. So they're destroying that mechanism, and that's why this has led to the huge financialization of the economy. Gilder calls this the hypertrophy of finance, the expansion of finance. And he says the people that, you know, it hurts the most, this hypertrophy of finance, are the 99%, basically, the people who don't work in the finance economy, the people who work in the real economy, because, they're paid by the hour or by the month. And, you know, the real economy is still attached to, you know, time value and, real wealth, but it's not benefiting from all the financialization. And the other thing that financialization is doing is disrupting all the time measurement that measuring stick like gold would normally have. So people in the real economy are losing out, and he says that's why there's all the talk of inequality. And the other thing that he points out is that you know it's the people in finance, like a high frequency traders, that make millions in seconds, and that goes to disrupt the time horizon of investments. And that's why the real economy is not doing well, because all the capital, all the fiat capital, is being utilized to play these games, high frequency trading. And another really important point he makes, and this is to conclude this video, is that he notices that when you divorce money from scarcity, the scarcity of time, it tends to migrate to a residual scarcity, which is the terrestrial acreage on the planet. Basically, he's saying that, you disrupt, the time value of money, and fiat money, will migrate to real estate or real property, because there's no more, you know, money in time is, it's been totally disrupted. It's not scarce anymore. So, you know, a lot of that money is going to try to find value in something that's scarce, which is land on earth. And he says that's why we've had all the gyrations in the last, you know, I'd say 20 years or so, or 25 years. And he notes really interestingly about the bubble in Japan in the 80s and housing, how, at one point the imperial gardens in Tokyo were valued at more than the whole real estate value of the states of California. And that was, before 1989, when the Nikkei topped and then, collapsed. And, uh, so that's really interesting that he makes this connection, the fact that money, you know, uh, the financialization of the economy has led to all these gyrations of money into real estate. And the reason I find that interesting as well, because here in the UK, there's all the talk that there's not enough real estate, not enough housing, and that's why house prices are going up. That might be a small reason why, but I think it's more the fact that the UK's economy is one of the most financialized economies in the world. The We depend on the city of London. We've got the most consumer debt, most corporate debt. We have, per capita, we and per as a percentage of GDP, we have huge national debt as well. And I think that's why the reason one of the reasons why real estate values have gone through the roof, like in the UK, especially in London. We hear of apartments selling for £100 million in the center of London, which doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, so basically, Mr. Carlin, uh, Mr. Gilder, sorry, Carlin, Mr. Gilder concludes that time is money, which isn't really a foreign idea to most people, and that gold is the clock that measures the money. And he thinks that's the future, because the way our economies are being run now, financialized, it's not sustainable, and he thinks, gold will make a comeback. And he's written a book, which I haven't read, but I'll plan to read it, The 21st Century Case for Gold, A New Information Theory of Money. So I'll put all the links below this, you know, uh, video. And I just thought it was really interesting, because I knew of Gilder as more of a technology guy, but he seems to be also a sound money, pro gold person. And to conclude, not surprisingly, he says the major reason why our economies have become so financialized is because Nixon withdrew the gold anchor, from the monetary system back in August of 1971. So I hope you enjoyed this, and take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.